Welcome in, folks. Happy Monday evening. Doing another live stream, staying busy. Got to get caught back up. So that's part of the reason I'm doing a few more live streams this week and just to stay in tune with you guys, see how you folks are doing out there. I'll give folks a minute to get on. Yeah, I know that intro is terrible. I had a really good intro that I made just for the Panthers. I'll eventually rebrand. I keep saying that. It'll probably be like 5 years from now when I officially change the channel to Old North State Sports, when I change all my handles to Old North State Sports. Eventually we'll get there. We are going to talk about the ACC because this is ACC country for me. It's who I follow. Y'all know that. We're going to talk about the state of the ACC. Is it too late? A lot of people, when you listen to folks talk about ACC right now, you hear the stories about guys that transferred from the ACC that were starters over to teams in the SEC that are starting. Where things sit, money, money, money. There is one team in the ACC that's doing pretty well and has one of the biggest budgets and rosters in all of college football, in the Duke Blue Devils, that we'll talk about in just a second. But hope you guys are doing well out there. Little ACC talk to get you guys rolling on a Monday night. And I understand that if you're a Panthers fan, you may say, well, I don't really care about ACC basketball or the state of the ACC. And that's okay too. You don't have to tune in. But I'll tell you what, folks, the other reason that I'm having to do this live stream is because, one, YouTube's amazing. It's a great platform to earn money, to make videos, to create content, to do all those things. It pisses me off sometimes, though. I can tell you that, because the way I work, I give you guys all the inside scoop on the things I do in case you want to replicate. And I can always reach out to folks that are interested in, like, how do I do this? How do I become a content creator? How do I jump on here and say whatever the heck I want to say? Make it available for you guys if you want to know. It's pretty easy to do, but I will tell you this. One of the things that I learned early on as I went down this path through monetization with YouTube was around copyright. And it was important for me to make sure I wasn't getting involved with copyright, that I could monetize once my followers grew, once all those things happened, once I checked the boxes. Oh my God. So that's part of the reason why you don't see me doing a lot of film breakdowns on YouTube. Here I am. And we're going to get into ACC talk, but I merge everything into one. I can do whatever. Here I am recording a video on the two safeties that just came in to visit the Panthers today. As I'm sitting down creating my content for you guys that follow the show, you know this. So, I'm pretty consistent. I do almost a video every day. Today, I was like, well, we could compile a few things. We could talk about safeties. We could talk about running backs, just like the general state. And we could look at the defensive depth chart. But I said, you know what? I'm going to split these up into 3 videos. And when I do something like that, I say, well, if I'm going to split it up into 3 videos, then I want to, take it a notch above for 4 of them. Not all of them, but for the safety video. So what did I do? I go out to NFL Pro and I say, you know what? I'm going to clip 4 video clips of highlights. Highlights that likely are not going to see the light of day from anyone else on X, on YouTube. They're not going to be out there. The odds of me getting knocked, probably slim. And guess what? The upside of having it is that maybe it'll attract more viewers. Maybe I'll get more subscribers. Whatever comes with all that. I kid you not. I do all that. I put in the work, and the stupid thing gets flagged. Son of a gun. Flagged for copyright, so I cannot monetize it. That's frustrating because for me, when I look at monetization and how I want to do this stuff, it's like, okay, if I'm going to spend 30 minutes to an hour on a video, I'd like to earn 10 to 15 bucks on that video. It was just a waste of time. Honestly, more than that, but ideally 10 to 15 per vid is good. Take it. Takes time. Anyways, that didn't work. So you know what? I said we're going to call up the troops and we're going to have a live stream for whatever the heck we want. So we're talking a little bit of ACC. And as we get into this tonight, talking through the state of the ACC, there is just a lot of folks, and I'm in ACC country, so I hear everyone, at least because that's what I listen to, is a lot of sports talk radio, and hear you guys out there, one fantastic programs. But I hear people calling into the sports shows. I hear the guests on the sports shows. Everyone in general worried about the number of teams in the Sweet 16 for the ACC. We know it's the lone bid. The ACC was a down year this year, is the Duke Blue Devils. Looking out at the SEC, 7 teams over. Big 10, 4. Big 12, 4. So hopefully that math, 8, 7, 1, 16. 16 schools. 16 in total. And so the question now, the funny thing though, with the Big 12 or some of the newcomers in the Big 12 that are in there, excuse me, that weren't there last year. So now there's this discussion, and I was listening to folks talk about how sad it was not having ACC schools on in the first weekend on Saturday. And it's true. I mean, to be honest, if you think about not having a single team on Saturday's matchup, the round of 32, it was a little bit weird. But I think in general, it's just where this whole thing is gone. And to be honest, a lot of people look at the Sweet 16 as it is today and say, well, this is the end of mid-majors. And to be honest, it's probably closer to that too. Mid-majors, not even sniffing it. Now, I don't have the analytics or data. You're going to hear a few coughs because I'm still getting over a cold. But I don't have the analytics or data to see the last time there was not a mid-major in the Sweet 16. But we're used to it. We're accustomed to the Cinderella stories. We're accustomed to these smaller schools and programs, the VCUs, the Florida Gulf Coast. I'm not going to name a bunch of names because I'm going to leave schools out. You're used to St. Peter's, whoever it is, Loyola, Chicago, all those schools that through the years have been smaller mid-majors, and they've made a run. We're not really seeing that this year. And I don't know. I can't tell you when the last time it was that we were in a Sweet 16 and did not have it. But the thing we keep hearing is, well, the ACC is going to figure it out. They have figured it out. I think it's a problem. Like, we can talk about where this is going with revenue sharing. We can talk about NIL and more money is going to be spent. But the money that's actually coming into these schools in the ACC in comparison, I know there's a new revenue sharing model based off of viewership that's going to benefit some of those at the top, primarily in football with Clemson and Florida State. Part of the reason they wanted to be here. But when you compare that, it's still a drop in the bucket, or the difference is much bigger, I should say, in comparison to what SEC and Big Ten schools are bringing in. It just is. And I don't know if that difference between those two is going to be enough. It feels like a game to where Duke's figured it out, but Duke's heavily invested in basketball. They are ahead of the curve. They're probably the only team in the ACC right now that's figured it out, hiring a general manager, having a staff to manage the basketball program. And here we are in 2025 in the University of North Carolina, years later. It's like, oh, yeah, this would actually be a pretty good model for us to do. You can't be that delayed. When I was thinking about it, I was like, the other piece of this, and like, I know NIL's been around, but I mean, just think about it in all honesty. Like, wherever you work today, you go in and think of it, I guess we'll pretend you're working for the ACC equivalent of whatever your industry is and your profession. I hope maybe you work for yourself, which is great. But you're going in and you get, of course, a contact from a recruiter. Recruiter says, "Hey, why don't you come over and take a look at us at blah blah blah." I said, "Oh, sure, why not? You really like where you are. It's great. You enjoy it. Pay's not bad. You walk over, look at an SEC type school model, looking at your upgrading job. You get probably 2 to 3 times more than what you're making today for the same job. A lot more benefits. I mean, it makes sense. It's wild. I mean, the thing that you hear is folks talking about, and it's true, when you grow up, and I grew up here, and you think about the Atlantic Coast Conference in basketball, that was the pride and joy of this. It really was. Football, sure, every now and then, if you popped and you did something great, yeah, that's good. But day after day, it's ACC basketball, and that's what it's always been known for. And to see that go away, I don't know that there's enough that can be done. I don't know how you catch up on spending, because at the end of the day, it's going to come down to spending and money. And the SEC programs that are ahead, and I'm really focused on SEC, but it's Big Ten too. Big Ten's got the money. Those programs that are ahead probably have data analytics and models on the financing of these contracts, whatever you want to call them, deals for these players that are coming through, seeing how it's going to work. They're going to have revenue sharing, and they're still going to have the same amount or more of NIL. And you look at what they're going to be able to prop up for these guys. And at the end of the day, the whole idea of pride and schools and I want to play for this logo and this jersey, those days are gone, man. Like, I used to hope that, oh yeah, kids would love to come play for University of North Carolina because of Michael Jordan or for this or that. Like, kids don't care, man. Show me the bag. That's exactly what they want to see. So I don't know, man. And you look at the state of basketball, it's depressing, man. So there is this idea floated around, and I talked about it a long time ago, not long, because a few weeks ago, of the potential for a Big East ACC merger. It'd primarily be basketball because UConn's the only football program. Can't stand UConn, by the way. Still hate UConn. If UConn joined the ACC, I may hate them more than Duke. That says a lot. I don't know how many people saw Hurley's comments coming off the court and then the threats that were made to the journalist that was surfaced that, and they asked him to delete it and all that. Like, sorry, dude. You got to be cognizant of where you are and what you're saying. Dude's a freaking prick. I can't stand him. Anyways, I don't know how much good that does in the long run. Like, what value are you adding? I talked about it. You're essentially at that point creating a super league from a basketball standpoint. You pretty much are going up to 30 teams, or maybe 30 or a little over 30. That's the NBA. So exactly how are you going to maneuver that? Like, what does your out of conference schedule look like? Do you even have one? Maybe you don't. Maybe that's how you boost it. Maybe that's how North Carolina finally gets a quad one win. Maybe that is the way they'll eventually cross the line. But I don't know, man. It is a very, and we talked about it, it's a wild time, man, in all of sports, across college athletics, if you want to call it that, and where this thing is going, man. Curious to see what, we're talking basketball primarily now, but with Duke leading the charge, how they're able to finish. But where I was going with that is what Bill Belichick's going to be able to do. I don't know. Speaking of which, they did have their pro day today at the University of North Carolina. I saw some of the Panthers folks made their way up there. But anyways, folks, hope you guys are doing well tonight. Very laid back show. Probably not going to stay on too much longer as we go through this. But anyways, that's probably going to do it, actually, unless you guys have anything. I'm going to sign off for the night because it's a little bit late for me recording almost 2 hours in, doing other stuff. So I will see y'all later. Y'all have a good one.